They say that Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same thing goes for Stardew Valley, I guess. The version of Stardew Valley that we know today is very different than the version that came out in 2016, and so that is why today we are ranking every Stardew Valley update that has ever come out. I'm gonna be assisted by the wiki page that has little notes about everything, starting with Stardew 1.0. Stardew Valley was released. Well, it doesn't really get much better than that. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of that like early beta footage of Stardew Valley where it shows people that just look drastically different, but when Stardew actually came out, it looked like pretty similar to what it looks like now. There's not too many changes. And so I think for a very first iteration of the game, I'm gonna go ahead, I don't wanna open too hot, we'll go with A. I mean, it was a pretty solid game. You spent a lot of time on it. People were really excited for it right off the rip. Version 1.01. Now, for as good as the game was when it came out, you can see that it had a bunch of really weird issues, which I kind of love being able to see because like I never experienced any of this, but like fixed random crash when going to sleep after getting your first pet. Also, apparently at the saloon, you could buy error item. It's just like weird stuff, like you couldn't bind the Z key to anything. So a couple of quality of life updates, a couple bug fixes. I think he's doing his best. He's still early on. We'll give that a B. We'll give it a B. I'm reading through the notes here. Fixed crab pot problem. Again. I don't know what the crab pot problem was. Was it down here? It just says crab pots can now be placed and removed without issue. Or so he thought, apparently. Apparently the crab pots were really giving CA some difficulty. Fixed exploding armchair bug? I found this Reddit post from 7 years ago. Anyone else buy a blue armchair from Robin that exploded in your living room, killing your chest and all its contents? Dude, oh my god, I wish I played early Stardew Valley. Imagine you just living your life and your freaking armchair explodes. Dude, see, this is the problem with this, is I just only read the bug fixes such as removed Leah's doppelganger. Was there a second Leah that would wander around? All right, I mean, I feel like he's addressed some very important issues with this update. We're gonna give that one a B as well. I feel like the removing Leah's doppelganger, yeah, I feel like that's a B. Oh my god, Stardew 1.03 is the option that introduced auto run by default. When you played Stardew, when it first came out, you had to hold shift manually, otherwise you would just walk around. Who wants that, man? I don't understand. I mean, I get it, it was a new game, but like, god, why would you ever make walk the default? All right, it's otherwise a pretty boring update. So like, I think this update would be like a D tier because it's kind of boring, but that run thing, I'll give it a C off of that because, dude, I mean, I know you can just like tick the setting, but just that's such a huge quality of life upgrade. Oh, I'm interested in this. 1.03 was released on the 28th of February, and 1.04 was released 2 days later. Oh my god, this is terrible. Look at this. Reduced value of honey from 200 to 100 gold. Raised Clint's ore prices. Made the meteorite look snazzier is a pretty dope upgrade at least. These are two big changes that made the game harder, and so if there's some fun bug fixes, I'll bump it up, otherwise it's looking kind of rough. Okay, see, like this. Bouncer is now truly impassable. I don't know how people were getting past the bouncer before, but glitches are fun, man. This update sucks. Willie's shop no longer counts as water. Could you just throw a fishing cast right directly on top of Willie's shop? Again, another fun thing stripped away from us because of update 1.04. You know what? 1.04 seems like it took away more fun than it added. I'm kind of outraged. I didn't even play the game at this point, but he made honey less valuable. He raised Clint's ore prices. He took away the fun Willie shop bug. The only good thing that came out of this update was a meteorite looking snazzier. So I don't hate it. I'm gonna go D though. I'm gonna go D, man. 1.04. Should have just stuck with how it was before. What is this? 1.05. Grandpa has had a change of heart. He feels he's been a little too harsh with his judgments. So his dialogue is a lot softer. Look, it's not my fault that you guys are playing the game and after 2 full years can't pet your dog a couple of times and you didn't get 4 candles, all right? You deserve to be shamed for that. It is not hard to get 4 candles with Grandpa. I don't know what the text was before or how Grandpa was bullying people, but hey, maybe they needed a little bit of, pep in their step. Oh, this is weird though. Changed earthquake to summer 3rd to make it clear that it's the season that kills crops. So apparently the earthquake used to be on the first day of summer, and then people, because it's their very first change of season, they used to think that they lost all of their crops because of an earthquake. God, I don't blame them for that, but that's actually really funny. You now truly cannot pass the bouncer. So don't even try, okay? I know this is the second time that I've fixed it, but I promise this is the one. Dude, this is the kind of line where I need more context. Spouse is less likely to run away into the dark abyss. All right, I feel like 1.05 can be best summed up as, dude, people were upset. They were upset that their crops were dying to earthquakes. They were upset Grandpa was mean with them, and we made it a little bit better. Look, I think you're being a little soft. I think maybe, hey, maybe Grandpa's got a point, you know? I'm gonna give it a D. I think people need to realize after 2 years of the game that maybe you should, you know, have your stuff together a little bit better. 1.051. Besides the fact that this just entirely abandons the convention that he had for the update names, 1.01, 1.02, 1.03, 1.04, 1.05, 1.051. Besides that fact, I'm gonna cast this update to the worst fate that something can get on this list. This will be the only update that is so boring that it even makes it into the video. All the other ones won't even be mentioned. 1.051B, what are we doing? What are we doing, Eric? Dude, you had a system down. What are we throwing B's and ones in there for? Tortilla price changed from 75 to 50 gold. Okay, tortillas for all. It's a now more easily accessible tortilla. Tortilla price, positive. This abomination of a name for an update, negative. Goes right in the middle of the pack. See. 1.06. We're back to the good naming system. Oh, I read this as Haley is now poisonous, which honestly would have shot this update immediately to the S tier for me, but it just says Holly. But besides my misread of the update, it's kind of boring. Spouses leave the house on Mondays, animal products increased, middle of the road. We'll give it a C, I don't care. It took Eric until 1.07 to realize, hey, maybe people shouldn't be allowed to consume trap bobbers. All right, 1.07A only added Mac and Linux compatibility, which is like fine or whatever, but again, it frustrates me that we're using letters in this. That made Stardew accessible to more people, A. Oh God, this is a beefy one. 1.1, we've done it. We're on to the next category. Look how big this is. So 1.1 added the marriage candidate outdoor area, and it added the ability to marry Shane and Emily. I'll say it again, Stardew 1.1 added the ability to marry Shane. I guess this is 1.11 immediately after 1.1. This says 1.11. CA. Price of Galaxy Dagger has been corrected to 35,000. It was 350,000. I wonder if any idiots bought that and they're like, whoa, 350,000 gold? That's gotta be the best weapon ever. And then they're running around with a purple toothpick in the mines and die immediately. What? Weeds in the mutant bug layer no longer change with the season, and no longer turn to battery packs in the winter? What kind of, what? Oh, apparently we also had an issue with pets walking off into the void. This is all good stuff, all these changes. I get hung up on the bug fixes because they're funnier, but like all these updates are pretty fine, I guess. We'll put this in the B tier. Oh, we're on to 1.2 already. We're starting with 1.2.26. So this has added all the different languages. Oh, and it added the freaking panda hat, which is only accessible on this weird version of Stardew that created by Tencent Games. As soon as I found out there was a hat that I couldn't have, it made me want it so bad. I think the translations for a bunch of different languages is like a huge plus for Stardew, obviously. The panda hat is like a small negative. I'll give that one I'll give it a C. It's kind of boring, honestly. It could go anywhere. It's a little bit boring though. Okay, I just looked at the rest of 1.2. It's all like just bug fixes, and all of 1.2 is cast to the boring tier. The worst fate an update can receive. But we're now on to 1.3.27. Added multiplayer. Added multiplayer? I don't even care what the rest of this update says. If there is no multiplayer in Stardew, I don't have a job. That is an S tier update. 1.3 is my new favorite update in all of Stardew Valley. Concerned Dave has said he doesn't want to do multiplayer for Haunted Chocolatier, which is like totally fine because like, dude, I'm sure that is like a whole other beast. But please, Eric, if you're watching this, dude, just think about it. Just think about it, all right? You don't have to commit to it, but just think about it. Okay, and then 1.3.28 fixed. This is why he probably didn't want to add multiplayer for a while. Look, I'll give him an A for effort on that. Oh my god, talk about fixed. Holy. Buried in all of this list of, you know, bugs that came from multiplayer and having the game in different languages is one of the most iconic bug fixes of all time. Fixed a Geneva Convention violation because on the front of Harvey's shop, he had a red cross, which is illegal. You're not allowed to display that anywhere because Geneva Convention. It's just the funniest way to phrase that ever. Bunch of fixes, got himself out of some legal trouble. You get a B. Oh, see, 1.3.33 had like nothing to it, but it fixed 2 visual glitches, which is like important, but like honestly, visual glitches are so funny, so you get put in the D tier. All right, 1.3.36 didn't really add too much besides support for new languages, as well as centering the shed door. What a big one. What a big update in Stardew Valley's history. Where were you when 1.3.36 came out? All right, here it is. The Big Mamma Jamma. Oh, good God, it's 1.4. Oh my God. Dude, my finger's getting tired from scrolling. I'll be back in 10 to 15 minutes after I've read all of these patch notes. I gotta take notes. I gotta take notes on the highlights of this update so I can report back to you. Okay, I feel like a new man. Here are the highest of the high points from Stardew Update 1.4. Most importantly, 24 new hairstyles, including bald heads. Also in 1.4, 35 new hats to cover up your aforementioned bald head. The wilted bouquet was added, which allows you to break up with NPCs that you're dating. So before this, if you were dating someone and you didn't want to, just you're settling down with them and having a nice family. 1.4 is what added emotes by pressing the Y button. So before 1.4, I couldn't press Y and then go. I just found out recently that there even was an old version of Junimo Kart, and I just like the way that this was worded in the patch notes. Junimo Kart has been completely redone and is now actually fun. Are you guys having fun during Junimo Kart? I have been almost exclusively stressed out every time I play. I like this also. Divorced spouses no longer attend your wedding. That's just petty, but also a really funny thing to think of. Okay, this is something that was driving me crazy. Collapsing in the mine no longer makes you forget levels. A few months ago, heard somebody say that you can lose progress in the mines. Like you've already made it to 55, but then you pass out and you get amnesia. And now the elevator only goes down to 45 or whatever. I looked high and low for any evidence of this, whether that was actually in the game still or not, and it was driving me insane. So to have the closure of knowing that that was once a mechanic that was in the game, but was removed, oh my god, I feel like I can finally rest. Also, prior to 1.4, you could put iridium quality items into casks, and that just makes me so curious to know what was spit out at the end of that. Was it still iridium? Did it ever get spit out? Did it produce like super iridium? Like, I need to know. And then there's like a bunch of bug fixes. Look, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read all of this. I started to, but then I got tired. So you could read that if you want to. Overall, Stardew 1.4, killer update. I feel like that's an S. That's an S, dude. So much work went into that. Oh, come on. Iridium ore abundance now increases much more slowly beyond level 100 of the Skull Cavern. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, dude, that was like where all the fun came from. And also, explosive ammo now costs 300 gold each in the Adventurers Guild. Okay, it all went downhill. Skull Cavern no longer fun. Weapon cooldowns now only happen if the game time should pass. Okay, the Stardew Valley sweats. No wonder they like playing on 1.4, man. Oh, such an important update in Stardew 1.4.1. Now Vincent loves snails. Really glad that we have that. Yeah, I was really felt like Vincent needed to love something else that's stupid. Weren't the grapes enough for you? 1.4.1 made the Skull Cavern less fun and gave Vincent something to love. F. There's probably some good stuff there, but honestly, I can't get past that. Vincent needed to add, we needed to add things that Vincent hates. See, now at this point, Stardew's been around for such a long time that this is just all like boring bug fixes, which is like important, but a lot of stuff ended up in my boring tier here. Like here, I'm out here trying to rank these updates and also entertain you guys at the same time. You guys don't care that on, you know, 13th of December 2019, Concerned Ape made some fixes to the Turkish localization. Cast away to the boring tier. All right, and now here it is. The biggest update of Stardew Valley history. Version 1.5. These patch notes now are very good. They are very detailed. They did not come out when 1.5 came out because I had no subscribers and I was trying to cover this update. And Eric said, hey, I want you guys to have fun. Like, I'm not gonna put anything. I want you to find it for yourself. Which is awesome until I'm trying to do research on how many key nuts there are, and I don't even know how many there are, let alone where they all are. End rant. I mean, this, at 1.5, I don't need to read these patch notes because I played at this point. Like, this added, obviously, it added Ginger Island and all of that. It added perfection. It added the key challenges. This added so much stuff. This is like Stardew, if like 1.0 to 1.3 was like Stardew 1, 1.4 was like Stardew 1.5. This is like Stardew Valley 2. Like, this is like an entirely different game at this point. I mean, look at how much stuff was added. All sorts of new items, all sorts of new locations, upgrades for weapons, like new challenges, perfection. Like, there was so much that was added here, and it was literally just all out of the kindness of Concerned Ape's heart. Like, he just wanted to add a bunch of fun stuff. That is going in the S tier. There is no way I could be convinced otherwise. Best update of all time. And then there's Stardew 1.5.1. Again, the Crystal Cave puzzle now gradually gets easier after repeated misses. Concerned Ape, you don't need to yield to the people who are literally victims of a skill issue, okay? The Crystal Cave puzzle was not that hard, man. It may have taken you a couple of times. You only have to do it once, okay? Just look at the things, just remember it. The skill issue. Oh, this sucks. Here's a bug fix. When dismissing the forage menu, items that can't fit in your inventory, instead of dropping them up and into the lava, they drop them down. So people were like trying to enchant their good sword, and then they were holding it, and then they'd exit the menu and just never to be seen again. Overall, pretty middle of the road. We'll give it a B. There was a lot of it was a huge update. There had to be a lot of fixes for 1.5. All right, honestly, a lot of 1.5, a lot of the following updates were pretty boring, but Stardew 1.5.5, I'm gonna talk about something that's not in the patch notes, okay? Because this introduced a lot of issues. And it's a bunch of issues that you as like a normal player would probably never see, but as content creators, ask any Stardew content creator, they will all tell you the same thing. 1.5.5 messed up recording Stardew Valley. This came out on November 30th, 2021. We were filming the first season of the trials during that day. We filmed on the 30th of November, so it came out and no one had even had a chance to like know what recording on 1.5.5 is like. So now it's just all sorts of glitchy. Long story short, when we recorded that, Therm was, his video was literally just a single frozen frame of him standing on the farm. We had Brooke L, whose was literally only the upper left-hand corner of her screen. It was 4 times too large. We had a couple of other people who just like didn't end up recording anything at all. Someone recorded like a black screen. The audio was messed up. 1.5.5, just reading those numbers in that order gives me a panic. That is going in the F tier. That might even go, you know what? That's going in the stank tier. In the stank tier. That's how bad that update is. And then 1.5.6 fixed a lot of that, as well as this is interesting, that the very last updates has fixed the Z key unbindable. So it's really funny that the most recent update, if you go all the way to the bottom, is also so similar to the very first update ever. It's actually kind of beautiful. That's going in the A tier. Here is my list of all of the Stardew Valley updates. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something maybe. I don't know why I did this, man. I really don't. Okay, that's it.